and welcome back to the HSP Connection with me, Robbie Lee. This is where we share our stories, insights, and strategies to help highly sensitive people navigate their own path to living a fulfilling and meaningful life. We're on a mission to reclaim the word sensitive and help the world see the strength in sensitivity. You've probably noticed today my usual co-host, Philippa, is not with me, and I have a special guest. This is my friend Anna, who we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the last few years. We've been in countless gatherings together. I have been at the benefit of her wonderful gifts, which we're going to talk about today, and I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you today, Anna. Welcome.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you so much. It's exciting to be here.
Awesome. And today we are talking kind of about all things energy as related to healing. You know, as a podcast, we've been delving into different types of healing modalities and different ways to approach healing. And I could not leave this without diving into the world of energy as related to healing. And I know this is something close to your heart, and I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is. Energy has been something that I haven't always understood it, but I know I've always been drawn to it and I've always worked with it in some capacity, but not always had a language for it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that language is that sentence that you just said, I think is relatable, can be relatable to a lot of HSPs because there's things that we know, we just intuit, we just are naturally drawn to do or to know or to seek out, but we don't have language around it. That has definitely been true for me as well. And what happens for us when we are able to have that language?
Um, the understanding, but the awareness, I think self-awareness is so important for healing. I've been lucky on my path. Physically, I've been quite well, but mine has been emotional healing. So I've always sought things out to help on an emotional level.
Mm-hmm.
But the self-awareness, because until you identify it, you can't heal it. You can't even touch it. You can't go near it because you don't know what it is. You have to first acknowledge it. Even if you don't even know what it is, just knowing, being able to identify what you're looking for help for.
Mm.
So that to me is the beginning of self-awareness, is the identifying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then self-awareness grows as we learn to understand it, accept it, heal it, grow from it. So it's all self-awareness. It's one big package, but it's we do it in degrees, in layers, in levels, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think a lot about a spiral. Like it feels like things unfold, either spiraling up. Sometimes I get that visual, or spiraling down to grow deeper. Spiraling up kind of energetically is how it feels, but it's continuing to, yeah, look at things from different levels as they unfold.
Yeah, the spiral works for me as well, because you come back to the same place, but you're you've moved on, but it's still the same subject or the same feeling or the
Yes.
same issue.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and so I'm hearing you talk a lot about kind of self-awareness.
Mm.
And when you're talking about the self, what are you talking about? Is it our body? Is it our mind? What do you mean when you're saying self?
Yeah, myself is prior to the body. It's prior to our thoughts. It's prior to our emotions. It's the self that we are intrinsically, the essence of who we are, that self, the self that has all the answers.
Mm.
And then So self-awareness for me is that connected with the self, with the awareness and the understanding to receive those answers and to tap into that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Some would call it the soul. I do sometimes call it the soul, but it's that's a bit loaded, the soul, and but for me, it's just like the pure essence that I am, the energy that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the energy comes from. It is what we are, or what I am. I talk to myself. It is what I am. And I know other people have different beliefs. It's talk for myself.
It's beautiful. So as you were talking about the energy that is, now I just lost the word, forgive me. Well, I'll tell you, because I think in pictures when you were talking about what that energy is, the essence of you, that it made me think about, oh, that's why we can have a through line in past lives, because self doesn't start here in this body this time. Could you say more about that? Because I know you do some past life work. Yes, we have done past life work together, in fact. Yeah.
We have, yes. Yeah, I started my energy work with past life. That's how I started. I tried different conventional therapy for my emotional healing. I tried different conventional therapy and it wasn't working for me. The talking part of it just wasn't enough. It felt like words that went round in circles, come back to the same place, and I didn't feel I'd got anywhere. And then my therapist agreed that we weren't really hitting it off, and she knew someone who could help. And the woman who she introduced me to did timeline therapy, which is very similar to past life. So that was my first introduction to who I was beyond who I thought I was.
That's big.
And it was just so, so powerful for me. It's exactly what I needed. So the self that I could visit in different lifetimes, it was still me. It was still the same essence, the same energy. I could recognize it in myself. I could feel it, sense it. I just knew it. The same way I could look at someone and know that they were the same person, the same essence as in my current life is just that knowing, that recognition. So for me, the sense of self just kind of blew open. I realized that there was so much more to me than Anna, than this one person. It was multidimensional. And it was just so exciting and so powerful that it was my introduction, but I just fell in love with it. But I feel like something just opened in me with that knowledge, that awareness, and that experience, because it is an experience. And the experience is like a deep dive. And talking, I do coaching as well, so I do talking as well. I'm not saying but the difference I think with past life and it's an experience, it's a deep dive. So you kind of like, it's like you're diving, you're picking up all these gems of wisdom and information, bringing them back to the surface, and then we talk about it. Then we assimilate and integrate and just work out what it all means, how that relates, how that past life can relate to our current life and what we've brought with us. And it's the reason why it by understanding something in a past life can heal something in your current life is because it's the same essence. It's the same essence heals at the same time. So that when one has the awareness, the other one has the awareness, because it's all me, it's all the same. There is no then and there. So in some ways you could say past lives are a paradox. It's all now. It's all happening now in this moment. But the gems, the hidden gems and the things that we need to work out, or the unresolved issues, it's like they're buried in the past. They're buried down there. So you go diving down, you find them, you scoop them up, you put them in the net, you bring them back to the top of the sea, back to the surface, and then you start rummaging. It's like, oh God, yeah, that one fits. So that it's just experiential understanding of who we are, and that inner wisdom. And it's powerful. It's a healing power, because the power in is that we've discovered something about ourselves. And even though I facilitate past lives, I don't do past lives for people. I just journey with them. Mm. So that means they are 100% in their own power, their own authenticity, their own authority. I just journey with them as they go and explore what they need to explore and bring it back for them. I don't interfere. I just guide, and I keep it moving. Ask the questions, ask what needs to be asked, and help them to find what it is they were looking for. Yeah.
Incredible. Then, like I mentioned, you already know this, but for the listeners, we have done some past life stuff together. And just full disclosure, because this is how my brain works. If someone were to say to me, "Are past lives real?" I go, "I don't know, but it really helped me." I'll tell you that. And so, and I think I come at things that way because I was raised in a really fundamental, hardcore religious upbringing where it was like, this is what is true and this is the only truth. And so it took me a while to like break out of that. And so now I hesitate towards saying this is a truth. I'll just be like, well, it really worked for me, like whether it was pictures that my brain, I don't think it came from my brain though. So I even has pictures that my essence was using to tell me a story to help me understand it. Or if I actually was living in another time, I don't know. I don't need to know, because I'm not like trying to research and document who I was in this timeline. The things that I brought back from that time, and it did feel like you were right there with me. Like it did feel like which was so cool after we talked about it. But those things that we brought back then had an impact on my current life, um, in a profound way, actually. And that's why I say, it works. So the process really, really, I was able to do some profound healing around, well, two things come to mind. One is speaking my own truth and, not being afraid to do that. And I just think as a collective, women as a collective, we've seen our ancestors, and perhaps it was ourselves as well, right? However we want to visualize that, be murdered for having power, for speaking something outside of the norm. And so for us in today's world to claim that power, it's hard for a lot of it. Like I see it in my clients a lot. And this journey that you and I took, it was profoundly helpful in healing that, like, and helping me grab that courage and bolster that. And yeah, it was amazing. I don't really know how to explain it well to people other than to just say it was just what I've said. It was really helpful. I felt, and I also, you know what, actually, let me also say this, because I said it feels like you journeyed with me, because it's like we're seeing the same thing. That's one of the things I think you're really able to do. You're seeing what I'm seeing. But more than that is that I felt we were able to take something that was traumatic and caused tremendous fear for me. We brought it here And it's like we were able to create safety and, heal that. Like, yeah, it was profound. It's profound for me. I think about it often, actually. Yeah. Thank you again. I've thanked you before, but thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, the compassion. We have compassion for ourselves, and that's the thing with my past lives. I mean, I started when I met this woman in my early 20s, which was lifetimes ago now, and I've never forgotten my past lives because there's just something about them that is so real, so true, that it's a memory that stays, but it's an experience that stays. So that's really interesting. I found that really interesting. I could clearly remember my past lives, or the ones I've worked on.
Yeah.
Is something about it that is different. It's a different. We're accessing a different part of ourselves. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And I feel like I just got an image of like a gold nugget. There's like a nugget I take with me from each of these places that I was like, oh yeah, this was the gold from that part. Like this is how I've now integrated that and it's helping me today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the gems. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you go down and excavate and bring and find. And what I what I passionately believe in is that we have the answers in ourselves.
Yeah.
We just and whenever I've looked for therapists myself, I've always wanted to find someone who isn't going to tell me what to do, but they're going to honor that I know what I need. I just can't reach it myself. I can't access it myself. And so I need somebody who can go deep with me, but in my way, because there's a wisdom and an intuition inside of me, but I may have, conscious blocks. I may have conditioning patterns, fears, um, layers of stuff that I can't quite reach it myself. So having someone to facilitate that for me, but to allow me to go on my own journey is what I've always looked for in a therapist, or a coach or a counselor. It's because there's just there is an inner wisdom, and we know it. So, for example, like when I was trying to have conventional therapy, and somebody would say something to me, and inside it's like it's not landing. It doesn't feel right. That's not mine. You're giving me your perspective, not reflect. It's I just couldn't connect because they were trying to tell me something about me, and that just wasn't helping. So I'm passionate about being the kind of person who can just facilitate somebody else, like being a guide on their journey, and absolutely there in service to them. It's like, where do you want to go? What do you need? We'll go looking for it. We'll go searching for it together. But I won't come across as trying to tell them what they need or how to go about it. It's like we work together. And that's important to me because I've always needed that myself. Whereas, of course, it's nothing wrong in going to someone and saying, I've got this problem. Can you fix it? Can you tell me what to do? Give me 5 steps. Give me 3 steps. I haven't got time for 5. Give me 3. And that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that wasn't what I needed, and that's not how I am for others. It's important to me.
Yes. Yes. I really relate to that as well. It's also how I'm oriented in the world. And it's funny because there have been times when I've gone to people and, thinking, oh, can you fix this for me? And sure, they'll offer something. I'll be like, yeah, that's not what I needed. It's just, that's not what I needed. And what I have found is exactly what you've said. My answers are inside. So what I need when I can't access them myself, I want someone to help me access my own answers, which is exactly what what I believe with my own clients. I don't have the answers for people, but I 100% believe they have their own answers. 100%. I think it's one of the reasons why you and I get along so well. It's like we really believe that about people. Um, yeah. It's why, I shy away from gurus and things like that. I'm just like, nah, I I want I want to be able to find my own answers. There's something really important there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the work that you do, actually, I'm going to come at it this way because in addition to, I mean, I've been in past life sessions with you. I've been in some of your Anacom sessions, which what would you call that? It's like energy and meditation and
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a multidimensional journey. So
yeah,
we
yeah.
go on a journey through the dimensions, not into past lives or anything, but just go into the different realms and access the energy that's available in those realms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we journey, and that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, and there is a relaxation meditation. I am a hypnotist as well. So hypnosis. I use hypnosis as well on the relaxation side, which makes that more powerful. But when we journey, we just journey into those aspects of ourselves. It's like a release, like taking the lid off and let's go, let's fly, let's see where, go to the light, whatever it is that's relevant to the person in front of me. But it can be fun journeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my experience doing those is I always feel so replenished afterward. Like energetically, like I just had the best meal, You just I,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still, I still struggle to find words for things, but what is it that's happening that is causing that feeling? Or I don't need an answer for me, but I'm for people who are listening, trying to like understand what we're talking about. I wonder
Oh,
if there's any more words you can put around it, you know?
I suppose, yeah, it would be, we could call it a vibration or a frequency.
Mm.
So we all know what it's like to be with somebody who's feeling upbeat, happy, positive, and to pick up on their energy and feel that warmth or compassion or whatever it is coming from them. And we all know what it's like to be with somebody who's down or low or negative, and sometimes we've got compassion, other times it's like, I just need to be away from this person. And I think highly sensitive people, we know that definitely is more so than people that aren't as sensitive. And being an empath myself, it's chronic. I don't I can be on the other side of the street as someone and still feel what's going on in their
Mhm.
mind, their energy. So I've had to learn my own boundaries and things around that. So to come back to your question, I think it's the energy, the frequency, the vibration. So when I work with the energy, it kind of like, it's like it pours through me, like the energy, the vibration, frequency pours through me, and then I can channel that to you, and then it kind of like connects with your energy of the same vibration, the same frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And then a part of you lights up, comes on board. It's like, oh, I remember this. I know this. And then it kind of like grows because there's that recognition of frequency. It's like, I don't know, someone's got a belly laugh. It's hard not to have a belly laugh in front of someone who's proper laughing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of the recognition of frequency. And then between you, it grows. So like you laugh harder, I laugh harder. And so it works the same way when I work with energy. It's like the person in front of me picks up on the energy that's coming, transmitting through me to them. They recognize, it's like, oh, I know this, I like this. And then they send it back to me and I send it back to them. And then together it raises both of our frequencies, and the vibration gets higher. And then the essence, the energy of you can just soar because it's building and building, and it goes to places where our minds wouldn't let us normally go. Our minds, our brains, our thinking minds are, obviously very cognitive, and they're practical, and they do things, and, they label things. Whereas once you start getting into the essence and building the vibration, anything goes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we shoot to the moon or whatever. Not that I do that, but it doesn't matter if we were to, because it's just what feels right in the moment, where the energy takes us, where that frequency wants to go. And in that is the healing.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Yes, say more, say more. Yes.
Yeah, in that is the healing, because it is that replenishment of our essence, of the energy that often gets overlooked when we're in our physical bodies, doing physical things, using our mind, dealing with illnesses, stresses, bringing up families, all the things that go on, and the things that go on in the wider world, all have an impact on our energy.
Yes.
And our vibration. And sometimes it's hard to keep our vibration high by itself, by ourselves, when there's a lot going on around us. So having somebody else who can encourage you to grow in that in itself is a healing.
Mm-hmm.
Like a belly laugh is. I mean, nobody has a belly laugh and comes away feeling worse for it, do they?
It's 100% correct. Yes. Yes. Oh, this is a beautiful description. Yeah. And I'm thinking about our, high sensitive people who are walking around and just absorbing other people's energy, are empaths doing the same thing. And because that was me, I'm talking about them because that was me for so long. Like I was absorbing other people's not great energy and not knowing what to do about it. And like you said, it can be then hard to keep your own energy high. And so I've learned techniques since then, but the sessions with you, I mean, I just said it felt like a good meal. It also feels like a shower. I feel like a, refreshing, like, it does feel like an amazing belly laugh. Like it is a replenishment. So whatever things in your mind associate with replenishment, I think that's what my brain is doing. It's like, oh, this and this and this. It helps remind, I think you used that word and I love that. My being. Oh, remember, you know how to vibrate here. And doesn't that feel so good? It's like, oh yeah. And it's why I love working. I mean, I love being by myself too, but I love working with specific people because of the process that you just talked about, where it's like the energies talk to each other and build. Right? Ugh, and that is the best feeling. It
Yeah.
it is a real gift that you give to people.
Thank you. And it reminds me of the past life work that I do, where a lot of it, again, people have different beliefs, but in my experience, people go to the light after they die. There is that realm of in between lives where our essence is formless and it goes back to just being pure spirit. And I think a lot of my work is bringing, if there's that recognition of the light, then I can remind people of the light, remind people that it exists. And so sometimes I can have a session with someone and they just play and bathe and breathe and just, I don't know, find a fountain, whatever it is in the light that they is nourishing for them, because it's again a recognition of like, I know this place.
Mm-hmm.
I was here before I was born, and I know this is where I'm going to go back to when I die. And as I said, it's not everybody's belief system, and that's fine, because in strange way, you don't even have to believe in it for a part of you to recognize that there is a lightness outside of the density of the physical body. So I mean, we call it light, but it is just, you can call it like lightness, like as in light as a feather, as well as in light like the sunlight. There's a part of us that would recognize lightness in whatever form, and whatever belief system that it's and I think you could say it doesn't matter what belief system you have, to know that we're all made up of energy. For example, the energy that we are is what we all are, what everything is. And so there's some things that, as you said with your upbringing, you know, there's some things that religion may put a cap on it, but energy is universal.
Exactly.
And so the lightness of energy, we could say, is a place that we all recognize on a level, a deeper level inside of ourselves.
Yes, it's that recognition too, that there's so much joy there for me. You know, it's just like, oh yeah. Oh, yeah. And when you were talking, I was just like, oh, I saw like a little person, like a kid, you know, running down the beach and playing in the waves. Like it was just like, it's joy and fun and replenishing and nourishing and yeah, lightness.
Yeah.
Hi, if you're enjoying listening to this podcast, have you thought about joining our HSP Connection Community for more connection with other HSPs? Because really, us HSPs thrive in the community of others.
Absolutely. And Philip and I have created this space on an online platform where we can connect with each other deeply. We're going to have these awesome conversations, and we would love to get to know you over there in that space.
We would. So if you're interested and want to join straight away, there's a link in the show notes. And if you'd like to have a chat with either of us beforehand, please reach out. Now, back to the episode.
For, you know, a long time, I have been focusing on my health and like my physical health, because I've been focusing on my emotional and mental health forever, but I've really been, you know, trying to focus on my physical health as well. And through part of that journey, in not finding answers, you know, it would be hard. It felt hard. And going to sessions with you, it was helping me to go to access the place that wasn't so dense, right, in my body, which was so hard. And then since then, I've been working a lot on being in my body and just doing all the things. And recently, very recently, you and I had a session where you helped me kind of combine the two. It was like bring the energy that was kind of out here for me and bring it into my body. And I talked a little bit about it with Philippa, but I would love for you to talk to people about what happened, and I'll say more about my experience as well, because this was a life-changing thing for me. I'm still buzzing about it. Still. What was it that we did, Anna?
Oh, it was amazing. It was remarkable to see the transformation in you within that session. It was wonderful. Yeah, so what we did was again, acting as a guide. I was able to help you recognize your energy and where it was outside of you. And we worked with the breath, and then we worked with the inner body. So in my world, in my understanding, we kind of like it's a bit like a cookie with a soft center. So like it's like there's the squidgy center of a cookie is like our inner body, and then the harder biscuit is the physical body, on, you know, the more denser, but it's still the same cookie. And the energy of the inner body is the light and the energy that informs the physical, the cells, and the, you know, when we're in pain, it's a contraction. And there's, you know, like a clenched fist, a contraction, and it's hard to get light in there. It's kind of in a way an absence of light. So rather than focusing directly on that, which of course you can, but by focusing on the inner body, and we started like with breath and the heart, and then we started by just becoming aware of the insides of your feet. and the insides of your ankles and the insides of your leg. And we just worked our way up, focusing on the inside, bringing in another body part and keeping all of that focus at the same time to where you was breathing and you was aware of every part of you, the inner body. And as you were doing that, you was breathing light and attention and awareness, compassion into your inner body, which often gets overlooked because it's the physical outer body that gets the attention, and the inner body, which actually gives it nourishment, light, aliveness, really.
Ooh, aliveness. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between me sitting here now and me being dead? There's an aliveness that animates this physical body that doesn't animate. We all know if somebody's dead because there's just an aliveness that's missing. And to me, that's like the inner body that lives inside the physical body. And when we ignore the inner body, or I say ignore it, but when we're not aware of it, we're back to self-awareness.
Yep.
When we're not aware of the needs of the inner body and the importance and the part it plays in our wholeness, then we can kind of dry up like that cookie goes stale and then the inside isn't as squidgy as it should be. And so what we did with you was bring in the energy and the light into your inner body, and then what it did was it filled up your cells, it filled up all of you, and then it started to then come to the surface. It moved to the outside of your body. And as it did that, we didn't have to do anything, but as it did that itself, then you started to connect with your physical body, and then you could start to place your attention in different areas and breathe into that, let the light into that, because we'd already brought it into your inner body. It was already moving out. It was already filling up like water in a plant. It's you put the water in one place and then it seeps out to the rest of the earth. And that's what we were doing with you.
Yes. The word I'm latching onto out of that beautiful description is wholeness. It's absolutely, I'm experiencing a level of wholeness I never have before, and ever that I can recall. I mean, maybe when I was, I don't know, but, and that is creating, like from that wholeness, I have access to more energy than I have had before. And it is just, I mean, I'm like a kid in the candy store, like I'm skipping around going, I can't believe, what is this energy coming from? This is amazing. And things that would have taken me out for like a whole day are not hitting me that way anymore. It's fascinating. I'm so grateful for it. Like every time I think about it, I just I feel like I vibrate because it was like my cells felt happy. I don't know how to say it any other way. They felt nourished, they felt excited, they felt happy. And as you were talking, it was just occurring to me, I have lived most of my life as these separate pieces of me, and I would maybe focus on one piece and but my work lately has been to bring us all back together, like we're integrating. And that exercise you did with me, wholeness, is absolutely the word. Like it's just yum. It's just amazing. I wish I had better words for it. It was incredible. Thank you. Yeah.
It was incredible to witness and be part of that journey with you. It was, thank you.
I think one of the things that's just so cool about being an HSP is we do have access to all of these modes of healing that maybe other people couldn't access as well, or don't, it's harder to get into. And I'm so grateful for that because, we know being an HSP has its challenges, But this is like the really big upside of it. Like we're able to do this energy work in a way that's really amazing and powerful. And yeah, I'm really grateful for that. It's because of our, I don't know if I'm going to use the right words, but I'm just thinking about the awareness that we can access as an HSP and the intuition and we know when something is off for us and we know when something is not off, when it's right, and we can really benefit by with things like the exercise you just talked about. Like when my brain gets a hold of that, it looks at that and goes, what? Okay, well, all right. But it's not for my brain, love you brain. But this was not for my brain to understand or whatever. But I experienced something. I felt something that I am still feeling. It is actually impacting my quality of life in a positive way. And yeah, I think I lost where I was going. But I just, here's what I want to say. These things that maybe are hard to explain or for our brain to understand, doesn't take away from their power. And if our brain doesn't get it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that is the power as well when get the brain to one side, because the brain is limited. It's you don't fix the car engine with a hammer. It's like, it's a tool. The brain is a tool, but it's not the tool for everything. And
Right.
there's things that you have to feel into. I mean,
Yes.
I think that's a word that
Yes.
HSPs know. It's like we feel into things before we make a decision, or if somebody's being truthful to us or not. We feel into it. So the brain doesn't feel into anything. The brain will just see things at face value.
Yep.
And so the energy work is that we're feeling into what we need energetically, because that is part of our wholeness. And transpersonal therapy is like another way that I describe what I do. It is for the whole being. That it's not you have to feel into it, you have to experience it, and it's the same. I don't know, like, so how would you describe what chocolate cake tastes like unless you eat it? There's some things you can't tell someone.
Yes.
It's like, you explain it. It's the best cake I've ever had it's, oh, just try it. It's like, just try it. I'm out of words. You have to feel things, experience them, taste them, touch them, know them inside of you.
Yeah.
And the brain doesn't, it's perfect for what it does, but it can't do everything. And when we give it too much authority and power, and when we trust it to make decisions for us, that it's not meant to make decisions,
yes,
then it can talk us out of things. But that's only because it can't have an understanding of what it feels like to feel into something.
100%. I actually spent years, I'm embarrassed to say, saying things like, oh, I should have trusted my gut, right? I logicked myself out of my gut answer, right? And then looking back, it's like, yeah, my gut was right. Until I finally started going, okay, brain, I've heard you, but actually we're going to go with the gut this time. It has a proven track record,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, trusting my intuition is something that I learned, as a teenager, really. I think it's
amazing.
It saved I know it saved my life on a few occasions. It's, but yeah, once I had some proof of, as you said, I should have trusted my gut. I knew it, but I didn't act on it. And once I had a few of those, it's like, well, I'll just go with that then and save all the hassle of regretting my decisions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Well, I'm noticing the time, and sadly, I think we need to start wrapping up. But is there anything around kind of energy and healing, past lives, anything in this area that we haven't talked about that you really want to be able to talk about before we leave today?
Thank you for asking. I think we've covered it all nicely and broadly. And I think, again, what's important is you don't have to believe any of it for it to have an impact. There's a healing power that is inside of us, and there's an inner wisdom that can take us to the healing power. It's not something that I give people, but I help them to find their own healing power with their own inner wisdom. And I think, and it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't matter if we believe it or not, if our head is on board or not. It's just that there's a power in us that sometimes needs to have a stronger voice, or to like a muscle. We need to learn to recognize it. Well, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, we learn to recognize it and to trust it, and we still don't have to believe it. It's like, I don't really believe it, but it, I find that my life works better when I do that as opposed to not do that. Or so
Yes,
that's what I want to say.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Yeah. And if people want to get in touch with you, your information is going to be in the show notes. So, lovely listeners, if you're wanting to work with Anna, which I highly recommend, there'll be ways to do that. And I just want to reiterate, Anna, also what you've been saying to people, which is like, we have this power within us. This is our energy, our healing power. And so for those of you looking for people to help you, my suggestion would be to look for people like Anna who help you access your own power, who aren't, trying to have power over you. Like, that's not what we're talking about at all, which has been really clear. But look for people that help you access that amazingness that you have inside.
Yeah, in a safe space, a safe container. They can hold you in that safe place where you're free to explore. Yeah, and feel confident doing that.
100%. My friend, as always, it's been a magical conversation, and I love connecting with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Likewise, thank you so much for inviting me. It was beautiful. Thank you for everything you said. It was very complimentary. Appreciate that.
Oh, well, it's from my heart, absolutely, as you know.
Okay.
But I think that's probably it for today. So listeners, please remember there is great strength in your sensitivity, and the world needs you to be who you are. And so for today, that's bye for me, and
goodbye from me.
Thanks for listening to HSP Connection. If you've enjoyed listening, we'd love you to hit the follow or subscribe button, as this helps other people find us. And it also means you won't miss an episode.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you could rate the podcast and share it with anyone you think might be interested. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave us a review.
To get in touch with us, you can email us at hspconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you with your thoughts and comments on the episodes, as well as suggestions for future topics and guests.
We are both HSP coaches and speakers. And to find out more about Robbie, go to RobbieLeigh, LEIGH.com.
And to find out more about Philippa, go to boldhsp.com. See you next time.